Welcome to the Reclaim Leader podcast. I'm Jason Tucker.
And I'm Jesse Skiffington.
We're two pastors in the trenches who are passionate about church health for greater gospel impact.
We share the ups and downs of ministry, strategies that worked for us,
and some that didn't.
Best practices and practical tools for church leadership.
The goal, to help all of our churches flourish. Let's get started.
See another sunrise, sing a little song.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reclaim Leader podcast. Jesse, in real time, I know this is a couple of weeks now later, but in real time, we just had the Super Bowl, and we were right. You called it the Seahawks. You were afraid to call it, but you did, and the Seahawks were triumphant.
I just didn't want to, I didn't want to be too brash about it. Obviously the Seahawks were going to win the whole time, so no big deal.
I knew the whole time.
And I just, I apologize to most of America for a pretty defensive battle, but what are you going to do? The Seahawks defense dominated. 78 total yards for the Patriots through three quarters, 0 points. And you're like, why did they even bother to show up? So anyway. I'm sure everybody else was like, is it over yet? Now, you're a special teams and defense guy, so you liked it.
I loved it.
Man.
I loved it. And anything to not talk about which halftime show you watched and all the ramifications of that. My goodness.
Well, isn't that what our episode is about today?
Oh, please no. Please, God, no.
Okay, I thought that was but maybe not. I was going in a different direction.
Although I think we're probably the kind of pastors that would toggle or have both on at the same time just to see what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah, I just out of curiosity.
Yeah, just out of curiosity. But anyway,
oh, man.
We're not even going to go there. So, so we today I had a little. I guess it wasn't a surprise, but it was. Yeah. It was an unfortunate validation. That's this. I suspected that the transmission of my car was going.
Oh, no.
As of a couple of weeks ago. And then I'm like, well, I don't know. It seems to be running okay. It's making a little noise. Check engine light, take it in. Sure enough, we got the news today.
No.
New transmission, which, as many of you know, is not cheap. And not exactly something we budgeted for.
Yeah.
So, the pain of that. But I was thinking, I was remembering, before we hit record, I was remembering an article that Barna did. And I was thinking about the check engine light for pastors spiritually. Listen, it's unfortunate that the check engine light came on in the car and I got to pay the cost to get it fixed. But once I can address it and fix it, it'll be good to go for another 100,000 miles. At least that's what the warranty is. Mm-hmm. So I think about us, going into this time of year, I'm feeling really depleted. And, we're in the middle of Lent now and thinking about just, again, being reminded of why I need to pay attention to that check engine light and stop ignoring it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also a time of year thing for me.
Yeah.
I definitely have the seasonal affect thing. So I get a little bit down when we get to this time of year. So I have to really work at taking care of myself.
Yeah. I think this is the time of year where you and I need to take a little mini recording trip out to Hawaii or something, or down to the Caribbean for.
I love that idea.
I think we might have better episodes if it was sunnier and we had, some tropical drinks in our hands or something like that.
Exactly right. Well, and so I was remembering this Barna article from a couple of months ago, and I went back and looked at it, and it was talking about the emotional and mental health of pastors.
Mm-hmm.
And this is from the report, The Relationships of Today's Pastors.
Right.
Interestingly, when they were trying to do a deep dive into how are pastors doing really? How are we doing?
Yeah.
And a lot of the categories that they found were very, very positive. In some instances, surprisingly positive. But there's one area that we struggle the most out of anybody else that they surveyed. And everybody else's, they surveyed people who consider themselves practicing Christians. And then they surveyed people who consider themselves just general population, not necessarily religious.
Mm-hmm.
And on average, this is from the article, pastoral well-being is lower than the general population's score of 69 versus 73, and it's especially lower than other practicing Christians, which scored a 79. Pastors' deficiency in this area is very important to note. if you're going to be measuring relational flourishing, the survey suggests that you are a lot healthier relationally if you're somebody in the pews than if you're the pastor up front, the person who should know how important relationships are. But that's our reality. And Jesse, I know we were just talking about it. It's like, speaking of halftime shows, it's so exhausting being a pastor right now. I definitely feel pressure to follow all of the shiny things and comments on everything happening in culture. And it's not that stuff's not important, but I don't do that. I don't take that bait because I feel like it quickly becomes a red herring and we lose sight of, it's easy to lose sight of the gospel, at least for me. Yeah. And I know some pastors feel called to that. And I think that's fine if you do, but I guess it's just knowing yourself. But there's so much pressure. And we were talking about this. There's so much pressure to be a pastor right now.
Yeah, to be all things to all people in a radically divided culture. How is that even possible, right? So it's either you pick a lane and you're with kind of one half or the other, or you try this middle way of seeking to be faithful to Jesus and serve and minister to people kind of that lean right or left or middle. And it's a tough road. I'll be honest. And I think it is something that weighs on us. And as pastors, it's a unique thing. And I even had one of our elders he pulled me aside one time and it was just like, I just don't know how you as a pastor could do what you're doing. It's a lot. And I was like, thanks for saying that. Thanks for noticing, right? I don't know if it's because I looked downtrodden and I needed that supporting comment, or he just was not recognizing that some of the challenges that are here. And that's not a pity party. That's not like to say, oh, poor us or something. I just think it's acknowledging that this is a particularly difficult time to lead well and to try to be wise in how we shepherd our people and how, so it tracks, right? That pastors are kind of going, man, this is really hard. And then you add just everything else on top. We had this week, I had 3 different people come forward to let me know about a recent cancer diagnosis. And it's just, so on top of some of the division and kind of figuring out how to navigate all the political landscape, social political stuff, there's the real life of serving, ministering to people going through hard, difficult things themselves, experiencing mental illness themselves or health diagnoses. And we had 4 funerals this last month and probably 2 or 3 more coming up. There's just a lot that gets kind of piled in on us. And again, we're not saying, oh, feel sorry for pastors. It's just, how do we navigate this well so that we can continue to serve and to make an impact for the kingdom and not be overcome by all the things that are coming at us?
Yeah. And one of the things that Barna's report sort of teases out is one of the reasons is that pastors score so low in mental and emotional well-being is because we're not talking to anybody about it. Like most pastors don't have a lot of friends. Yeah. And there's a quote in there from Jimmy Rollins, who's the co-founder of 2=1 Marriage Ministry. He says, a lot of pastors don't have friends. They don't have people who are going to be honest, to whom they can say, hey, when I'm tempted, this is what temptation looks like. For me, this is what a bad day looks like. If I'm not doing well, this is what it looks like. Yeah. That's real vulnerability. And that's something that we don't typically have.
Right. And it's like, where would I fit that into my life? I think sometimes is the equation. That's one of the things I love is you and I have this built-in excuse to kind of be face to face with each other once a week. And as we've often said, best conversations, I'm sorry to say to all of our listeners, are often before we hit record or after we're done and we kind of talk and catch up. And, one of the things I've appreciated about my context where I am in as a pastor in ECO is we're required to be in a pastor covenant group. It's one of the things that I'm mandated to do. And so I have 4 pastors in my area that we kind of go through a list of questions. We're like, if pastors struggle to have meaningful relationships and have friendships that produce accountability and that kind of thing, we're gonna sort of force it to happen. Sort of like an arranged friendship between pastors to make sure we're looking out for each other. And it's something we have to be intentional about. It doesn't just happen on its own, right? It's something we need to do on purpose.
Yeah. So how do we start paying attention to this? I think Lent is a great time to do that. It's a naturally reflective sort of reset time. And I want to do two things. So I want to share these 5 questions that Dan Ryland asked in a recent blog post. He's money with his blogs. If you aren't
If Dan
following,
Ryland asks these questions, these are the right questions.
exactly right. If you don't follow Dan Ryland, then shame on you. You need to be following him. His blog is just a wonderful resource that I get a lot out of.
Sure.
But he says 5 practical questions to help keep your personal spiritual vitality alive and well, specifically for pastors. And here are the questions, and we can just kind of comment on each as we go. But first question is, what was the last thing God said to you and when? I love that question because it is really poking the finger at, you talk to God. What has he said lately? And it's both convicting if you have no answer, and it's both encouraging if you do, because you recognize God is there even though you're feeling a bit low. Second, are you quick to follow the everyday prompts of the Holy Spirit? Quick to follow.
Yeah.
I notice that when I get pretty depleted, I am not quick to follow. I'm very slow to follow because I'm always worried about the time, energy management of me. And but when I'm in a better place, I'm feeling like, let's go, let's do it. And I think that's just a very real question. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, if you're kind of in hang on for dear life mode, how can you be available to be deployed in whatever direction, right? So it tracks. Yeah. Am I ready to be responsive? I love that. That's good.
Yeah. Number 3, what spiritual life book are you currently reading that is not part of your teaching preparation?
How dare you, Dan? How dare you ask that?
Well, I think God's trying to tell me something because my friend Jonathan Miller, he's the one that actually it recommended me that I interview here at Tower Hill way back when. But he took me to breakfast and he gave me a devotional, and so that I would kind of take a look. It's like 52 readings, A Beautiful Year, it's called, and then on top of like thinking about this episode, I think God's trying to tell me something.
That's right. Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, it's like, your own discipleship is a priority. It's important. Your own kind of soul care, whatever words you want to use for that. It's like, it's crucially important because you're going to lead from that place. And yet it's like, when, and I got to be creative and find myself a resource or whatever. So I think just go to something tried and true. I mean, if you have an awesome friend that wrote a cool book, do it. Or, I'll go back, yours is not sort of a personal spiritual journey book, but Speaking Their Language by Jason Tucker, this could be a good encouragement. But I actually have a Year with C.S. Lewis. I often go through that. I'll switch it up or something, but just, you kind of prioritizing that in some way. I think he's spot on. It just, you are a child of God that God loves, and that's the first thing, right? So but it's in the grind of ministry, especially I find when we need God the most is the time when we're least maybe likely to be looking for him or spending time with him. I don't know. It's almost like the batteries drain and it gets even to a harder place.
Yeah. You know what it's like? It's like, because I'm a knucklehead, I'm always thinking about sports analogies. Like when you have a good baseball swing, there's a difference when you swing fluidly or when you're just trying to muscle it. And I feel like everything comes easier and better when you're able to swing fully and smoothly rather than just trying to muscle the swing or muscle the ball. And I feel like what happens to me is I come from a leadership place of just muscling the ball, which I can hit it, but I'm probably going to tweak my back or I'm like not as effective as I could be It's like trying to run under my own power, basically.
Yes, a nice smooth swing is going to create more contact and better contact than some sort of, I just have to get the willpower. I think there's like a self-confidence aspect to that too. When things are going well and you are connecting with the Lord and you kind of have this momentum there. Go with the sports analogy as a baseball guy myself. It's like you get up there, you're not thinking about, am I going to strike out or am I going to, you're not thinking about, I have to make contact. You're just getting up there with the confidence, trusting all those fundamentals to show up and it just happens. And so but when we get depleted, I think is when we're like, but that's maybe when we need to rely on those fundamentals the most, when we're tired and come back to those core things. So Jason, maybe our side podcast would be sports analogies for pastoral. Maybe that's our next lane to go down.
Oh man, we could do another.
We could be here forever. And some people are like, I had a guy at Marine View tell me the only reason I know that the Seahawks are in the playoffs is because I go to this church. Is what his direct quote.
And did you say you're welcome?
And I did. Yeah, okay. That's exactly
Good.
What I said. I'm glad I can help you stay in touch with what's going on in our culture. That's good. So
I love it. Question 4. Yeah. Are you in community with a few believers where you are known intimately and you can be challenged and encouraged in your faith?
Yeah. We kind of talked about that one already, but yeah, super important. And I would say it's the kind of thing that if you build a relationship over time, even when things are okay, then when things are hard, you'll have a really strong base of trust to lean on each other in those things. And we're always talking about that in our community groups and things we do here at the church. We want you to have walked with people for long enough so that when things get hard in life, it feels natural for people to show up and walk with you through that versus like, who is this person parachuting in to solve my problems or whatever. So, yeah.
And lastly, and this is probably my favorite one. Is your prayer life all that you want it to be right now? If not, what is preventing it from becoming all that you want it to be?
That's awesome.
I love that one.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So when we're thinking about prayer life, what comes to mind for you? I mean, it's kind of a broad statement, but are there things that come to mind where you're like, man, my prayer life is really dialed in? Or not? Yeah.
Well, just for me, what happens is when my prayer life is really kind of humming, it's I find myself praying for others more.
Yes. Yeah.
Naturally. When my prayer life is struggling, I find that I'm focused inward. And so I don't know what that means. I just noticed that it's more, just more inward focused than it is when things are going well. And I'm constantly thinking and stopping and praying and it's all very organic and fluid.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of tied back to that being responsive to the Holy Spirit, the promptings of the Holy Spirit. I think, because for me, I resonate with that. There are times when I kind of just have this natural ongoing conversation with Jesus, and maybe, I don't know, people are like, who is that guy talking to, or as I'm driving or whatever. But like, this like, Lord, help so-and-so, or, this family, their kids in the hospital, just would you help them, be with them, bring healing? It just sort of naturally kind of comes to your heart and mind. And I don't think it makes it bad when you're praying for yourself or you're recognizing your need either. And so I would say when my prayer life is going well, I'm with you. I kind of have an other-mindedness about that comes with it. But it's also when I'm saying, God, I don't know what to do, and I need you to help in this for your kingdom, for your purpose. And so when I struggle in prayer, I'm with you. It's more like, what about me? I need, what do I need and how come? And that kind of pity party prayer versus like, God, would you help me because I want to lead well, or I want to make a difference. And I think that is a healthy kind of posture too. I was just studying with a group about the dad, when the disciples can't cast out the demon and people are like, whatever, why can't you guys do this? And Jesus is like, man, you guys are a mess. And then the dad's like, hey, if you can help us in any way, please do. And Jesus says, if I can. And then he says, if you believe, anything's possible. And the guy says, I trust you. I need help trusting you. And I feel like that's a kind of a healthy place in prayer versus like, God, get me out of this or lead me somewhere else because I don't want to be here anymore. So that asking for and the desperation to reach out and say, God, I need you, is a sign of trust too, and vulnerability that can be good. But yeah, I don't know. Prayer life is hopefully something that we're all practicing, but it is an indicator. Like if we're struggling just to have a consistent conversation with the Lord and have that be a part of our ministry and our identity as a Christian, I think that is a kind of an alarm bell.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we'll take some time and we'll post this stuff on the show notes, but we'll do Dan Ryan's questions there and a link to the original post that he did. But then what are we going to do about it? I want to focus kind of the rest of this episode just on what are some 5 things. We had 5 questions. Let's go through 5 ideas on how to reinvigorate our emotional and spiritual well-being as pastors heading towards Easter.
Yeah.
So, and a few of these things are things I'm personally going to do because they're kind of tried and true for me. So the challenge is really to take time and reflect on how God has been working in our lives and to set aside moments and think about our spiritual journey and where we are and what God's doing. And, you might want to consider keeping a journal to record significant events and prayers and answered prayers and reflect on God's faithfulness in the past and to strengthen your faith and give you some hope. But here's 5 things. And the first is, and this is the biggest time commitment, is to do a silent retreat. I think overnight works just fine. Doesn't have to be a whole weekend. I'd rather see an overnight than just a day. Because I don't know, there's something about that overnight time. And I was looking into, there's a few monasteries that offer some really low priced options where you can go and just kind of have a room there, and you can go and join them in prayers and all that, or you could just do your own thing. But in a silent retreat, I really find it valuable to do some journaling. And I actually, even though as an introvert, I don't say I love it, I do better with a guided silent retreat than a self-guided one. Even though I don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, it's good for me. It's good for me. I always resist it, but they have, I just did a quick web search. I mean, there's a bunch of them all over the country. I mean, wherever you live, they offer silent retreats, guided or self-guided. And obviously to focus on scripture, one thing that I like to do is I like to actually go back to the Greek and Hebrew tools because something about it awakens something in my brain to just do a little reading and then read the English and kind of read it devotionally. And then I also like to do life planning. So if I kind of take all the spheres of my life, I think of work and friends and leisure and family and faith. What am I praying for? What am I hoping for? What's the me that I want to be in all those different areas that I pray that God helps me to become? Maybe it's going back to my rule of life that sometimes gets some dust on it and I need to sort of dust that off or shake it up. But a silent retreat is really helpful for me because it's that getting away. And there's actually a camp. Jesse, I don't know if you have this around, but we have a camp in the Poconos that they allow pastors to go, I think, up to 3 nights for free every year.
Yeah.
Man, take an opportunity.
Yeah.
Take advantage of those.
And there are a number of camps in our area that do the same thing. And so, please do that. And maybe you just like ask some of your colleagues or friends. I'm sure they know of places. A lot of the Christian camps particularly have a heart for pastors and church leaders. They know the challenges. And so, good opportunities are out there.
Yeah. And then the second, and I know we've talked about this a lot, but I need to remind myself, is to take mini retreats, mini Sabbaths, take a half day, go for a walk in the woods, listen to Christian music, listen to a devotional, or just use that as your own prayer time. It's amazing. Every time I do that, I'm like, why don't I do this more?
That's right.
There's something about if I can carve it, we've talked about sit in the coffee shop with a notepad, do something for you that's helping you spiritually. It's not just do something for you, like, go see a movie or something. And that That's good too. But I mean, something where you take some actual focused spiritual time, but it doesn't have to be a lot of time.
Yeah. I've actually found too, like if I'm sitting in my office and I've got my to-do list and all the things I need to get done, and I'm just not getting traction, I'm like the momentum or maybe the motivation is just kind of like, I got 8 emails to send and I'm feeling like that. Sometimes it's just a cue for me to get up and like go down to the church building, maybe move some chairs around that I've been annoyed by or whatever, and just go be active a little bit, go for a little walk, do something, because you're not being productive anyway. So go just get refreshed in a different way, change the view. And that, yeah, I think it's just learning those cues. But, I've often said, and you referenced it, but one of my favorites is just to not use my phone or computer, just a notepad and just a pen and just sit and think, and whatever comes to mind comes to mind. There's a lot of things that come to mind about Jason, and I'm like, geez, Lord, change these stuff. No, not really, but it's like just a chance to kind of let your heart and mind kind of marinate and get some things out on paper. And I don't know, they're just, so change it up. If you're sitting there and you're stuck, don't stay sitting there stuck. Go change it up, because then you get back, you're actually probably going to be in a better place to make some progress, right? Isn't that, it's going to short-term restored battery life? I don't know. Something like
I think there's a reason why, and this just happened to me a couple of weeks ago. There's a reason why in the middle of the night your brain will solve a problem.
Totally. Yeah.
It's because it's shut off. It's
not working on 7 other things, right?
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Sometimes for me, I'm more of an extrovert. So for me, sometimes it's just walking out my office door and going and having a cup of coffee and just chit chatting with a few of the staff about really nothing, about the Seahawks or whatever. And just kind of just taking a little break, giving ourselves some breathers along the way.
Number 3 of something to kind of spark a little refreshing spiritually and emotionally is serve outside of your church, in secret if possible. And I just say that because there's something about kind of like, I don't need people to see me do it and give me attaboys or whatever. I just need to go serve where I'm unknown, and I do it just for the joy of serving others, whether it's I go to a soup kitchen or I go help out at Goodwill or whatever it is I'm going to do. And I was reminded of that one recently as well. There's another church in our area that has this really cool ministry, and I was excited to get involved. So yeah.
And sometimes it's nice just to not be in charge, right? I just am here to serve and to help, and I don't have to be the one leading the thing or saying the prayers or organizing the people. I can just chip in and be a person here. And that is a powerful thing. Depending on your situation, I don't know what might be available to you. But I would say on the flip side of that too, when people come into your church, maybe they're a semi-retired pastor or someone who's been really involved in their church, just give people permission just to be here. Like just go at your own pace, and just, if you need to be in the background for a while and just get involved in a few things, do it. But I like that. I one of the things I enjoy doing is coaching, but there's leadership involved in that. And so a couple of years ago, I just switched gears to like being a helpful assistant. I just show up and help facilitate the practice. I'm not in charge. I don't have to spend that leadership mental energy, but I can go and just serve and be around people I enjoy being around and help the kids and whatnot. So I like
That's
that.
Awesome.
Too. Yeah.
All right. Number 4.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to like this one because we're wired this way. Start a new book or a course or something from seminary you always meant to get back to. We all got those things, like we always, you know what, I'm going to read through Karl Barth, or I don't know, whatever the thing was.
Yeah, it wasn't that for me, but yeah, go ahead.
Or maybe, actually, one thing I'm thinking about this Lent is Richard Foster's Celebration of Discipline. Just to go back and read through it. But yeah, sometimes again, it's just picking up a resource. It could even be an old faithful that you haven't picked up in a while, and I think it just helps spark something new in your brain to develop some new rhythms.
Yeah, just and to bring you back to some of the core thoughts that maybe shaped the way you think or feel or operate as a leader in the church, and going, oh, that's right, that's where that comes from, and to kind of be refreshed around that. So, yeah, and you're thinking about all the great thinkers and thought leaders out there that we've looked to. And, I've got my C.S. Lewis on my nightstand, but I've also got one thing I'm working through right now is Tim Keller's Jesus the King. And it's just so good in the Gospel of Mark. And I'm using it for preaching too. So don't get me wrong. But I'm like, there's so much wisdom in there. And sometimes we just need to sit with that and enjoy something that somebody else has done that's worthwhile. So yeah, I'm on board.
All right. Lastly, and number 5, and I'm sure, there's 105, but here's number 5. Because this really gets to the beating heart of the Barna work as well. Mm-hmm. Cultivate friendships outside the church if possible. Mm-hmm. Now we've been cultivating friendships, not all of them outside the church. Some of them are both. Mm-hmm. Like we met them outside the church. They eventually came to the church, but we just did a thing where we kind of did an audit of, we had all these gift cards to go eat places that we just haven't gone to. Mm-hmm. And there's this one right by us, and we had thought about just going out to dinner. We're like, you know what? Let's invite this couple that we always like getting together with them. Let's invite them. And it was so great. And we were so glad that we did that. We had such a great time. And I don't think Karen and I really realized how much we needed that in that moment. So cultivate those friendships. Do an unused gift card audit or whatever, find a way to get together or something you were going to do anyway, and just try to invite somebody to really lean into friendships, because I know that, again, pastors and pastors' spouses can feel very isolated and lonely a lot of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when things are hard or we're not feeling super great about where we are, feeling depleted, that we have a tendency to maybe withdraw and just want to almost isolate ourselves more. And so there's something we have to work against that tendency and say, no, this is the time to lean in towards friendship and not away from it. So I think it's really good, Jason, and really good wisdom for us. And, it's a challenging landscape. And if you're a leader in the church, a pastor, it's not a matter of if you'll feel depleted, it's just when and how are you going to work to hear God's voice over the noise? How are you going to work to be filled again? And that's for me. I keep coming back to the end of that passage when Jesus says, this kind only comes out with prayer. And I'm like, oh, that's right. God, we need you. Like, it's not just us on our own strength. We need you. And so that's really been my prayer, really for the last, I don't know, maybe it should always be my prayer, but in the midst of all the chaos, it's just like, God, I need you. I don't got any of the answers. And there's something just rejuvenating and in that, renewing in that, because when we're weak, that's when we're strong. And that's when God just comes alongside us and says, yeah, I know you need me. But I'm here. So let's go.
Very good. Yeah. So listen, don't ignore the check engine light. You want to make sure you take care of it and that you'll be ready to go, ready to keep going on to whatever God has for you next. But I think, we're so quick to move forward. At least I am so quick to move forward and get to the next thing. But sometimes I need a season where I'm really allowing myself to be built up before that. And it's because the temptation is just to keep going.
Yeah. And to your point, sometimes it's a transmission level kind of check engine light. Like it's stop now or things are going to blow apart kind of deal. And other times it's, hey, check engine light, it's a gas cap seal that failed. And it's a little easier fix or something. But my friend Larry Kruger, who was here for years since retired and moved to South Carolina, where there's actually snow, he said he had a car one time where the check engine light came on and he just took some tape and taped over it because he didn't want to see it. That's not what we want to do. Pay attention, slow down, take stock, and find what you need to get renewed and filled up again.
I love it. And I think the Lord's telling us it's time to wrap it up because we lost connection for a second and it came back on. And on the video, we switched spaces somehow.
That's right. I feel better on the left side anyway.
Listen, you look good on the left side. So anyway, all right. Hey, thanks everyone for listening. Again, you can reach out to us anytime, Jason or Jesse at reclaimleader.com. Thanks for being on this journey with us. All of our new listeners, thank you so much. And don't hesitate to reach out. We feel like we're all in this together. And that's our goal, is to help each other flourish, help each other to have what it takes to keep going. And because, we say it every week, ministry is hard. It is so much better when we do it together. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.